But I want to ask you first, what are the biggest barriers preventing more women from entering and advancing in the energy sector? What do you think?
In my opinion, I believe there are a plethora of barriers that prevent women from entering the energy sector. Even after entering the energy sector, advancing in the sector, there are other barriers. Barriers that stands from education, training, from training a girl child to even have the interest to be in the sector. You should be deliberate. We should in fact, we should be intentional in training a girl child to know what it takes to get into the energy sector. Another barrier is cultural barrier. So many people believe that it's a male-dominated sector. It's patriarchal society. Nobody is interested. Or in fact, they are discouraged from getting into the sector. Or they will tell you, if you get into the sector, will you go to the rig? Or will you be behind the engine? Will you be able to do so and so? They will discourage you with so many things, sometimes stereotypes too. And unconscious barrier, even when you get into the job. Advancing in the career, you have unconscious barrier that some colleagues will unconsciously tell you that you cannot go on this field trip because you're female. Or maybe you're pregnant, you're not able to gain that employment. Or even from employment, from recruitment, the resume, once they see that you're a female, they will just put your CV
There's
aside.
An unconscious bias.
There's an unconscious bias, yes, against women. So there are cultural bias, stereotype, bias in the workplace, bias because you're female, even bias against female leaders that have the capacity to lead. Even though they have the capacity, just because they're females, they're not given the room to. Some of them are bullied, even in their high positions.
Amazing.
Yes.
So you said something about STEM, or maybe catching them young and all of that. How do we change, that narrative at that level? STEM itself, how do we encourage more women? And what has been happening so far to encourage more women, in your view?
A lot of women from women organizations in the energy sector that are taking deliberate steps. In fact, we're intentional about building the women, the girl child, from the primary to the secondary. Just, this is March, the month of IWD. So a lot of women are having programs. They go to the primary schools and secondary school to talk to the girl child on the essence of going into STEM. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. These are subjects that will bring you into the energy sector. Without these subjects, you will not be able to even gain that access into the energy sector. So the women are very deliberate about doing that, but more needs to be done, on a larger scale.
Will that mean that there are more that the organizations need to do, especially from recruiting, and trying to, stop that conscious and unconscious bias? So maybe my question is, how can organizations in the energy sector create a more inclusive and supportive environment for women, in your view?
In my view, organizations should be very deliberate in developing a strategy, diversity, equity, inclusion strategy. It should be like the Bible of the organization. They should integrate it into their condition of service.
But many of them have this in place. Many of them
implementation, they should be very firm in implementing it. Implementation is one thing. When you implement it, you will be able to address any bias you see in the system, call the person out, because if you have it embedded in your condition of service, everyone will know that is against the condition of service of the organization to do this and this to a woman, or call out bully a woman, or even gaslight a woman in the workplace, because she's not your wife, she's not your sister. She has the capacity to do the work. She respects the work. You just see her as a woman executing her role. And she has the competence to execute her role. So every organization should have that document, the DEI document. That document should be like a strategy to ensure that they check the analytics, check the metrics, do the data to check the gender balance. If there are gaps, they will be able to know, from recruitment to advancement to succession plan to training, human capacity development. capacity training. When it comes to custom-made training, you will know which one. If they're deliberate, if the organizations are deliberate in putting up this document, even in knowledge transfer, they can also develop mentorship training or knowledge sharing training where other, well, let me say, senior members can come and talk, coach, mentor the younger ones. Hereby you will now have succession plan. Okay. If this is already part of the organization, if the leadership leaves, the next people will just follow in line. They will just fall into the same process. Yes.
I remember in banking when Sanusi was the CBN governor, there was an intentional effort via policy, to ensure that women rise in the banking sector, even at the management level, at the board level. Intentional to say, look, in composition of your board, you must have X percentage of women, X percentage must be women on the board or on the management. Do we see this kind of thing happening in the energy sector? Is it the kind of policy that can change things in your view? Do you think so?
Absolutely. It's going to change. In fact, it's going to change the whole trajectory. Okay. Because when you have a document, when you keep the data, you know the segregation, okay. You know the gap. By the time you analyze, you have your metrics for analyzing the document, so that you'll be able to know who and who is in where and where. You deliberately push the women up to be at par on the same level ground in the boardroom with the men.
Okay. Okay.
If you do that, if organizations are very deliberate on it, women will not be crying foul. I'm telling you, yeah.
All right, let's bring the conversation to what you are doing with the Women in Energy and Maritime Awards. Why that effort to establish maritime and energy awards? What are you trying to achieve with that award?
Women in Maritime and Energy Awards is not a community of women like other associations.
Okay.
It's a platform that is intentional about seeking out women. We find them out, we identify them, we decorate them. Some of them are unsung, some of them are doing a lot of work behind the scenes they don't want to be noticed. Okay. But we want them we'll call them up to come and share their stories. So it's a platform. We're in our 4th year right now, endorsed by United Nations. UN Women have endorsed the Women Awards as a veritable platform to amplify the voice of women. Women's voices need to be heard in the sector. Women that are competent, women that have the capacity, women that are executing their roles as leaders. It's a platform for them to come and share their stories. We have women that have come over the years, for the past 3 years. They come up to the platform, even in the fireside chat, they tell us their experience, so that the rising women will have different categories, even for the rising women, the youths, so that they will know that they are not alone. You can be a career woman in the energy sector, you can be a wife, you can also be a mother. And we're telling the organizations that they must be deliberate in forming programs and policies that will help the women. Governments, organizations must be very intentional. If there are programs already, they must be intentional in implementing these programs. The affirmative actions that are there, how far have we got? What is the data? What is the measurement? What are we doing about women groups, women-led groups? How are we supporting them? Do we have budgets for them to support them? Entrepreneurs, for internships, even apprenticeships, mentorship programs, coaching programs. This has to be.
But we see many of this. There are many women in the energy sector. I know we have like 2 major or 3 major women groups. We have every now and then a lot of women programs. Are we saying all of this, we're still not achieving any progress?
The more the merrier. There is a center point where these women meet. Do you understand? The Women in Energy Network is the women in oil and gas.
Exactly.
Even when we have other professional bodies, we still have the women angle of it. These are just steps that are being taken to ensure that women come together and speak. Women support women. Women supporting women, you know, we teach in that place that women should fix another woman's crown. That is what most of these organizations, you see, some of is a networking platform that gives so many women that do hitherto they will not have that opportunity to meet with other women in their workplace. But when they come to this kind of forum, they will be able to meet women that are also in the same sector, and when they share their stories, they will learn from there. They can leverage on somebody's experience to better their career growth.
All right, the role of mentorship, I would like to bring that in now. The role of mentorship in bridging this gap. How do we make it any better? Because this thing of women supporting women, some people say at some point is lip service. And the major problem they're having in the energy sector is that this women support women seems not to be playing, you know, in the way that it should play. So maybe mentorship is not working well enough, as the women who have been able to make it to the top of the ladder, they seem not to be doing enough to pull the younger ones up. So mentorship should be what that is. I don't know if you agree with this view, or do you think women indeed are doing more with mentorship?
Wisdom, a lot of work is going on the ground.
Okay.
There's a lot of advocacy going on, even though it may not be showing the percentage that maybe you expect, but work is going on.
Okay.
So many women that have been held back by cultural barriers are coming out. If you see them, even with the hijab, you see them working. They're engineers. So there is, you know, it's not only in the skills acquisition. You also have to mentor a woman to be able to speak.
Okay.
You teach a woman to be able to, you know, if you have all the skills and you're not even able to communicate those skills, it's as if you are not even doing any work. So some women that know the skill, they have the skill, they're just there, they know all the work. However, they don't have those networking skills. When they come, they meet other women that have been there. They will not teach them. So mentorship is going on, and we're seeing the results, though it may not be in the number that you expect at the moment. We also have he for she's, the men that are also training the women, the men that are also supporting the women.
Okay.
Each time we have our programs, we'll have the he for she's. In fact, we have strategic partnership with some males that are supporting this, our very great objective. So the extraordinary women, the women that are really outstanding in the system, you see them whenever a woman, a younger woman approaches them for mentorship, they willingly accept. So a lot of work is being done. Okay. Advocacy is ongoing, yeah.
It's ongoing.
Thank you.
All right. So we have been talking to the chairperson of Women in Maritime and Energy Awards, Mrs. Chizoba. We'll quickly go on a short break. And when we come back, I have a few more questions for her, and especially what is going to happen with the awards that is coming up next week, and in case you'll be attending. But let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, I'll take more questions for Mrs. Chizoba. All right, welcome back. So I still have with me in the studio Dr. Chizoba. She just told me while we were on break that I missed that when I was calling, so that was intentional, ma. So yes, Dr. Chizoba is with me, chairperson, Women in Maritime and Energy Award. So we'll just get back to the conversation real quick. Accelerating action for women in energy. And my next question will go, we've talked about mentorship and all that there is now. Tell us quickly, with the awards coming up next week, the 28th of March, what should we expect at that award ceremony?
Thank you, Mr. Wisdom. At Women's event on the 28th of March,
Yes.
let me announce to you that it's going to be a wonderful place to be. Don't miss out.
Yeah.
On that 28th, we start our red carpets by 5 p.m. The venue is Oriental Hotel. So you're going to expect rising women in the sector. You will see women in renewable energy, You see women in the upstream, midstream, downstream. You see all aspects. Women that have been behind the scenes, innovating and making groundbreaking projects. Women that have been involved in all that you're seeing, that you, for each item you use in your home, a woman has been behind the scene, helping out in the energy sector. So for us to be able to combat or address all the issues within the sector, we'll address all of them there. We'll find solutions there. We'll have to provide solutions to some of the things that are going wrong within the sector.
Sure.
And then we'll put the paper out. That will be our contribution to making the sector a better place.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yes.
I love that. I know I've attended a couple of times. I've been emceeing a couple of them, and it was quite electrifying to see that women who are doing quite a lot are being recognized, and that's a good thing. I think women need a lot of that to encourage them to indeed do much more. Now, how can energy transition, particularly renewable energy, and I want to bring this in now, create more opportunities for women? The transition is happening. What role do you see women playing in all of this, and how do we create more opportunities for them?
We can create more opportunities for women, through empowerment.
Okay.
Empower women to develop the skills so that they can be part of the transition.
Okay.
If a woman is trained, if she has the capacity, she can make her own input.
Okay.
But a woman that is not trained will not be able to be a part of what is going on.
True.
So we need to be deliberate about integrating the women into what is going on. And we'll have to develop a document that we can follow to the letter and bring up women in the different areas of the transition, so they can be part of it.
So, do you think the government is doing enough to also support this agenda of creating more opportunities for women in the energy sector?
Well, the government is doing what they can do.
Or is there a role for them at all? Or this
yes,
is...
the government needs to, in the boardroom, in board appointments, there should be the same, in fact, the percentage of women that should be in the board appointment should be taken care of. If you're appointing 5 men or 7 men in the board, in any energy organization, let there be women.
Okay.
Let there be women. Just see them as a part of growth and success, not because they're women. You understand? So when it comes to having a balance, it should be implemented. The affirmative action should be implemented in board appointments, in leadership appointments. I will tell you, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board trained a few women a couple of months ago at Lagos Business School, which I was part of. Fully sponsored by NCDMB.
That's lovely.
That's the kudos for NCDMB, yes. Women entrepreneurs were in my class. Women that are working in public service were in the class. You see women that are doing all sorts. In fact, it was a wonderful place to be. Networking, sharing their views, and the resource persons were top-notch resource persons. So they should emulate NCDMB in being deliberate about that. Government should also sponsor women. Not only through organization, they should have a budget. Yes, a budget for training women in this transition. Very important.
Very important. Also, there's an issue, I know you touched on it slightly, but let's go deeper into it now. The issue of cultural and societal norms, as they seem to influence a lot of this representation of women in the energy space. There's, like you said before, so there's a conscious and unconscious bias in all of this, but there's also a role that cultural and societal norms sort of play in between that. I want to touch on it. How is this indeed affecting, and what could be the solution?
I've experienced it. I've experienced bias as a woman leader. Women in Maritime and Energy Award, brings two sectors together.
Yes, maritime and
two
energy.
sectors together. When a woman is given a role to lead, she faces a lot of bias. I've experienced some. I will tell you, when a younger woman, for instance, is given a role to lead older women, you need a full dose of emotional intelligence, in addition to village native intelligence.
Okay.
Emotional intelligence and native intelligence for you to be able to lead in that space. You will see a couple of men who don't want a woman to lead them. They will converge, they will gang up and do everything within and outside the book to put you down. Yes, because you have developed yourself, you have the competence, you have the capacity to lead in that role. However, the only disadvantage, so to say, that you have is because you're a woman. And some men don't want a woman to
So
lead
you
them.
you are competent, and you have gotten that role because of that competency,
Yes.
and the effort you've put into it. But now you are leading people, and there are men amongst them, and unfortunately the men just don't want you to lead them because you're a woman.
Yes.
That still happens?
It happens, I'm telling you. I started by telling you that I've experienced that. I have experienced that some men may be traditional rulers. They have a chieftaincy title in their village, or maybe they have a wife. You know, cultural barriers. Some men in some cultures, they don't ever believe that a woman can lead them. No matter what you do, no matter emotionally, how emotionally intelligent you are, you're not able to break that. In fact, you will do everything within and outside of the book to ensure that you keep the the organization, the department afloat. But because you're a woman, I've experienced that. So women have to work extra hard. That is why I'm a core advocate for the women. When I see a woman, I have this soft spot to ensure that a woman succeeds. Personally, I'm the only female in the midst of 5 men from my mom. So you can see the passion. My spouse has no sister. Yes, so I have men supporting me from this side, men supporting me from this side. But when you now get to the
office.
workplace, you see that.
A friend of mine told me something one time. I know she's a very young female leader, I mean, in our organization. She told me one day, Wisdom, the guy looked at me and told me, I have your kind in the house. I have you in the house.
That's the kind of language you hear every day.
And I'm wondering, why will you say such in the workplace? What use is
Your
that?
clerical officer
So that
can
still
tell you that.
happens.
It does. It does happen. So, but if in an organization there is this DEI document that addresses deliberate or unconscious bias, you should be able to address that. You have your core values, and it's part of your strategy document to address that. It's a workplace. She's not your wife. You understand? She's only called to do her job. And also, if you're promoting the officers, let there be a balance. Let there be a balance. Women can work. We're not competing with the men folk. We're only saying that a woman that has the capacity to be in a place, give her that desk. Give her that desk. So the women award is very intentional about singing the praises of women that are innovating in the industry.
In your case, how did you navigate this kind of situation? You said it happened to you.
It happened to me, yes. I did everything within the books. You know, I have to use my native intelligence to see if you know how to stoop to conquer. You have to stoop. You have to talk to. I talk to other women that are older than me. Some of them retirees. You know, in the African side, some of them will threaten you with voodoo. Yeah, that is true. You can face a lot of trauma as a woman leader. You can face a lot of trauma. So facing that trauma, you know, and then you have to go home and you know, keep the home afloat. And you're a career woman. So it's not easy. We call on the men who are also already supporting the women to continue to lend their support to the women. But there should be a document in the workplaces that address issues like this, so that when this kind of incidents happen, the person already knows what he is going in for. But if you're just saying it when incidents occur, nothing will happen.
Are there some studies or research, that can help with to support this increasing women's participation in the energy space? I know organizations like Wimbase, they've developed like a document on diversity and inclusion that speaks broadly on women in leadership, but I don't know if there are any that exist categorically for the energy sector, considering the peculiarity. I don't know if there are any, or if you've read any of that, but can that be of help?
So many organizations like Wimbase, WIN, WILG, WEEP, so many of them are, when they have events, these documents, they collate them and they put it out. You know, there is progress. It's not perfect yet, but there is progress, and progress can be measured. I'm telling you, there is progress. A lot of progress is being made, and people are coming to the understand. The advocacy is going on, and so many things are going on. When women are working, when women that are committed, extraordinary, women that are really resilient in executing their roles, when they are applauded, it sends a lot of signals to other women that feel disillusioned, that are feeling very let down, that they will know that there is hope.
There's hope.
So the documents are in there, and women keep pushing. We're calling all the people that need to promote those documents to promote them so that they can fly, so that they will have
Men, before you spoke about men being allies, being able to partner, but we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to be asking Dr. Chizoba about some of the questions around how men can indeed help. I think that's a very important question. Even as a man, the energy space, I want to know, how can we support, where can we help, and let's go on a quick short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back, and we'll take the final question. Time Energy Awards is with me, and we'll just come back, and on the question I was about to ask before we went on break, allies, male allies, and how men can partner to, of course, help in this conversation of accelerating, action for women in energy. If you were to give some sort of views or ideas on how men can support, where do we start from? I know a lot of men that are like me are watching, and we're really intentional how we can support women in the energy sector. Where do we start from? Where do women need help?
Men should start from protecting the women in the workplace.
Okay.
Protect that woman in your unit. Protect that woman in your department. Secondly, internship. Men should deliberately support the women that are, especially the girl child, for internship, apprenticeship.
Okay.
Nothing stops a woman from. A few days ago, it was all over the news that a young girl, a 19-year-old girl, was driving an articulated vehicle. That's beside energy. But if you see an opportunity, give support to the woman to learn. In terms of commitment, women are usually committed when they're given something to handle. You know that women nurture.
True.
So the men also sponsor empowerment, SMEs for entrepreneurs. A lot of women cannot go into business because of financial barrier. With the economical meltdown, the men should support a woman. Support a woman in your space. Or when they write an application, when you throw up an opening like that for recruitment of interns or apprentice, or let's say for SMEs, let there be a percentage for the women.
But we're also looking for competency.
Yes,
in
I'm
all
not
of this?
saying because they're women.
Okay.
Like, I keep emphasizing on competence and capacity.
Okay.
I'm not saying they have to do it because they're women.
Okay.
It is in the training that they have the capacity.
Okay.
It is in the training that they now develop the competence.
Because sometimes when we hear some of this, it sounds so for many people that we should just give women,
No.
that seat because they are women. We also want to look at competency and capacity. And I just want to clarify if that's what you're speaking to.
What I'm speaking to is that women that have the capacity, I didn't just become a deputy director in NIMASA just because I'm a woman.
Okay.
I rose through the ranks to be deputy director. Do you understand?
Yes.
What I'm saying is that women that have the capacity, you have to be deliberate in grooming a woman through the STEM. If a girl passes all her science courses, subjects in the school, and she doesn't have the opportunity of going to the uni, and you see that this girl has certain qualities of becoming an engineer in future, somebody should sponsor her. If she has the financial barrier, if she's being barred from, furthering her education, the men, this is where the men usually, some of them are more financially opportune than the women. So we call on the men, if you see the opportunity of training a woman, a girl child that has the prospects of becoming an engineer, a girl child in STEM, a girl child that wants to be a female mechanic, a girl child that wants to learn renewable energy, just train and then support the women. If you're the CEO in an organization and you have the opportunity of telling your HR to develop a strategy document for diversity, equity, and inclusion, you deal with that. Even if the CEO goes, you're the male CEO, and you leave, it will be a document that will be in that organization that will guide whoever is going to succeed you.
All right.
Or a succession plan, for instance. Yeah.
All right, Dr. Chizoba, thank you so much. It's been really an inspiring conversation on how we can indeed support women. And I know that many men who are indeed support, I know many of them. Myself also, I'm part of those men who indeed always want to give women that support, especially in the energy sector. And I know quite a lot of men allies are willing to support.
I don't want to call their names, but we have...
I wish you can call their names. Call us some of the men allies before we go.
But no, sir, should I call more?
Yes, call some men allies.
SLB.
Yes.
We have so many of them. I don't know if they want to be mentioned, but we paid a courtesy visit on Dr. Nosa, and I know that he's always supporting the women. He himself is also a very successful man, been at that hem. He even in volunteering, he likes to support the women. Immediately we got to his office, all the ladies.
Now, Dr. Nosa, I'm trying to remember his last name. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's something. I have had a lot of support from men too.
Sure.
Yes, I've had a lot of support from men. I just told you that I had males. My brothers are men.
Yes.
My father, they didn't look at me as a female. From the beginning, he told me, whatever your brothers can do, you can do it. Not that we're in any form of competition, but you have the capacity to study. That time, we used to compete on who would have straight A's in WASC.
That's how it should be.
Yes, we compete on who will finish this novel.
Yes.
So that's how it should be.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Dr. Chizoba.
Thank
you
you
for
for
making the time, and we hope this conversation continues. And it's not one we can finish in 1 hour, even if we want to. And we keep beaming the light on this issue of accelerating action for women in energy. And yes, this is where we call it a wrap on the program this week, and a very important conversation as women growth in the energy sector is critical. In my view, if we also want to achieve much, there's so much we can benefit when we have the women also on the table and also on those rigs to support us and work. So it's very critical. So today's discussion makes one thing clear. Advancing women in energy isn't just about gender equality. It's about unlocking innovation, driving economic growth, and ensuring more sustainable future. And I want to thank my guest today for spotting that light and putting that conversation up there. We'll leave with this quote from Melinda Gates, who said, when women invest in women and girls, we are investing in the people who invest in everyone else. That's a very important quote I want to leave you with. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo, and of course, you can catch a recap of this program on our YouTube channel, just in case you missed it, on official Upgrade TV. But we're back again, same station, same time next week with another important conversation, and don't miss it. Trust me. Too. I see you next week. My name is Wisdom Chap Jumbo. Have a lovely weekend.